Diamond P Sports presents from the National Hot Rod Association Championship Drag Racing, the Silver Anniversary Winternationals. Speeds in excess of 260 miles an hour, covering the quarter mile in less than 6 seconds. Drag racing from the NHRA.
Dave, the centerpiece of this Silver Anniversary Winternational celebration has got to be this collection of restored drag racing legends. Who could ever forget Art Chrisman's famous Hustler car, one of the first machines to ever top 180 miles an hour. And in fact, it was this car that West Coast fans said Don Garlits couldn't beat when Big Daddy first came west in 1959. Actually, Art Chrisman's first dragster was this machine. It dates back to the 30s, was even a street car during World War II, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of technology, a little hot rod, a little dirt track, and even some Lakester involved in this machine. Over there, that was the first dragster that was commercially available. You could buy it in kit form and build it yourself. It was driven to the top eliminator title here at the 1963 Winternationals by Jim Nelson, the famous Dragmaster Dart. One of my favorite cars of the early 60s, and it owned every track record in Northern California, was the Champion Speed Shop Special owned by Jim McLennan. But predating the funny cars for tire smoke and wheel standing excitement were the blown gassers, supercharged Chrysler engines in Willys coupes such as this one, names like Big John Masmanian, Ohio George Montgomery, and to West Coast fans, this was the king, Stone, Woods, and Cook.
5 days ago, Bob Glidden made a prediction. He said he would drive his Ford Thunderbird to an elapsed time of 7.54 seconds sometime during the Winternationals. The five-time event champion came to the starting line in the first round of Pro Stock Eliminator, facing the Mercury Topaz of Roy Hill. Glidden automatically won the race as Hill left the starting line too soon, drawing the foul start. In taking the win, Glidden backed up his prediction, shattering both ends of the record at 7.53 seconds elapsed time at over 186 miles an hour. It was 1 week ago at Firebird Raceway in Phoenix, Arizona, in a race against Gary Beck, that Don Garlits had the wing collapse on his race car at over 259 miles an hour. Don was unable to keep control of the vehicle, the car rolling over several times, causing severe damage to the brand new race car. Garlits worked all week in Phoenix to get the car ready. Steve Evans asked him, "How will you do it?"
Well, it's going to take a lot of hard work and a little bit of luck and a little help from the Lord and all my friends. And I think there's a real good chance we'll be there at Pomona.
Once again, just inching into those staging beams, our two drivers getting ready. The green light start, and an engine explosion for Bill Mullins. Larry Minor takes the win and advances into the semifinals. A fine time for Minor at 5.52 seconds at a slowing 250 miles an hour. And talk about slowing without the supercharger on top of the car. Bill Mullins brings John Kerry's car. Earlier, Steve took a look at what makes it so special.
We talked a lot last season about Kenny Bernstein and his wind tunnel testing. Well, Kenny has finally been able to take all of that data and apply it to a one-of-a-kind Ford Tempo body. The first thing you notice is the car is a good deal narrower in the front. It's got less frontal area. It'll push less wind. Now, that is possible because they have extended the front portion of the body to the maximum legal 40 inches from the center of the wheel to the very front of the body. That also accomplished something else. With the extra room, they were able to move the fuel tank and the fire bottles forward for ballast, eliminating an 80-pound lead bar. Now, the next thing that is obvious on this car is that they have drastically altered the angle of the roof. Formerly, it sloped back very gradually. Now it drops off quickly, allowing the wind to get back here and work with the rear spoiler. The rear spoiler is a good deal smaller than a lot of the cars that have a regular whale tail because of this efficiency, and also because beneath there is a road racing style kind of semi-ground effects tunnel. So that tunnel working with the spoiler gives them the needed down pressure. Now, that's really about all I can tell you about this body, because that's all they will tell me. An awful lot of secrets surrounding this car, including these louvers here. They won't even discuss them.
Very patient, and then the flash of green, and a great race. It is Rick Johnson there first, has some problems for Kenny Bernstein, and look at the time. The quickest elapsed time in the history of the sport. Al Segrini, your defending champion, in the near lane. McEwen in the far lane. A tremendous start for both drivers, and it's anybody's race. By inches at the finish line, Al Segrini squeaked past Tom McEwen. This is John Lombardo. A Another great race as Ed McCullough gets near the concrete guardrail, but he pulls back to the center of his lane, and a tremendous upset. Ed McCullough puts away the #1 qualifier. His elapsed time. Final staging completed. The green light. And a great race for Baldy as he pulls ahead at the start and just barely holds on at the finish line. Baldy's elapsed time, 5.74 seconds, and he crossed that finish line. But there is one person missing this day. Back in 1980, she raced against Connie Coletta for the Top Fuel event title. She won that race over her longtime competitor and compatriot Coletta. Shirley Muldowney, three-time world champion in 1984, suffered one of the most serious accidents ever in a Top Fuel dragster. Her car left the racetrack and literally disintegrated into hundreds of pieces. Seriously injured, Shirley has been undergoing extensive surgery and recuperation since that time. The racing world has been wondering, how is Shirley doing? And most importantly, what does the future hold for Shirley Muldowney? On a snowy day, Steve Evans visited Shirley at home in Mount Clemens, Michigan.
When the surgeons are done and the therapists are done, what then, Shirley? Can you look ahead that far?
I'm trying to. I have hopes and dreams, and I'm a pusher, and I would like to drive the race car again. That's what I really want to do. But I'd like to be able to do it and feel comfortable. I'm not too sure that's going to happen for me, but we'll know here in a few months.
A Top Fuel dragster again?
Oh, yes. That's where my love is, in Top Fuel, and that's what I want to drive the king of the sport.
Joe Amato near lane, Garlett's in the far lane. And a tremendous wheel stand for Amato. He backs back pedal, and there the motor goes away in an explosion for Amato. Joe Amato wins the race, but levels the motor. He brings the car to a safe stop. Jerry Amato very worried. You can tell by the look on her face about her husband Joe. But the car to a safe stop. You see the safety people over checking immediately. Here we watch again. Look at the wheel stand. Joe Amato riding on those back tires, trying to stay away from the center line. The tires smoking. Garlett gets in front, but then he has engine problems, allowing Amato by, and then boom. There it is, the engine explosion that tore the supercharger right off the top of Joe Amato's dragster. The parachute stays on even with the intense flame, allowing Joe Amato to bring his dragster to a safe stop. Gary has brought a brand new car to this 1985 season opener. It is filled with innovative devices, primarily in the aerodynamic field. Earlier we took a look at them. Steve's had a chance to look at them close up.
We've talked a lot about funny car aerodynamics. Well, the Top Fuel dragster drivers are thinking seriously about it, too. Witness Gary Ormsby's car. Now, this piece of hand-formed sheet metal, there's one on either side, attaches to the chassis and hopefully will force air around instead of over the rear tires, getting those rear tires a little more streamlined. Other factors included in Ormsby's car, it's the longest Top Fuel dragster I've ever seen at 265 inches. Now, he says it's got built-in traction because at that length, it'll flex and put more weight on the rear wheels through weight transfer. Also, because Gary's only 5'8", they've been able to lower the cage on the car a full 2 inches, get it a little more streamlined. They've raised the cowl in front of Gary. They ran wind tunnel tests on a model of this car and could tell by the smoke they put over it that by raising the cowl, then that air goes directly into the blower scoop. So Gary Ormsby may well be on the right track.
But this is the final. Everything's on the line in this one race. And there's those handling problems that Warren has been so concerned about. That gives Glidden an advantage that he parlays into a multi-car-link victory. Bob Glidden winning the 25th annual NHRA Winternationals in his Ford Thunderbird. The elapsed time for Glidden, an outstanding 7.58 seconds at over 184 miles an hour. We're just a few seconds away from that final race in Funny Car Eliminator. It's a good start, and Sagrini moves ahead instantly. He continues to extend the lead, and something goes wrong. The car, with lots of sparks coming out of it, he pulls over into Dale Baldy's lane, then drives back away from him for the second year in a row. Al Sagrini has won the race, but crossed the finish line in a ball of flame. The emergency hatch on the roof of the car comes open, and Al Sagrini scrambles out. The roar of the huge crowd indicating their approval as the word Let's take a look at all of this action again. We can see by a train length, Segrini is leading a troubled Dale Pulde. But right at the finish line, the sparks literally begin to fly. Looking like a 4th of July sparkler, Al Segrini, driving Joe Pisano's car, begins to shed lots of spark. Inside that cockpit sits Al Segrini. From a ground level shot, you can see as the flames and sparks fill up the cockpit. Segrini with the presence of mind to pull the chutes to stop the car. The staging's over. The green light's on. And Ormsby